phrasing, the vocabulary?
Yeah, that's a very good question. When I was about 17, I took a few lessons from a jazz piano player named Lenny Tristano. And he had me do the most unusual thing, which was to memorize melodies and solos in any style of music, and then sing along with them. And I had to be note perfect.
Okay.
And that was a very unusual thing for me to do, because I'd never really done it before. I mean, the solos, or with lyrics and things, of course we all sing along. But he was obviously looking for more instrumental style tracks. But his theory is that you had to get the music inside of you to be a visceral experience. In other words, you had to physically experience singing these other melodies and these other improvisations, these other solos, so that you would have a kind of a body recognition of it, a body memory, not a mental one, because he felt that it's the musician's overthinking that's always the problem. You learn a lick, you remember the lick, you will just keep playing the lick. Especially if the last time you played it, people clapped, and you're going to play it a lot. So he saw that as a very big danger, and so the idea was to sing along with these solos. And I really found it did help me a lot, because once you do it, it's like something, it's like having a great experience with a friend and you never forget it. It's this very strong memory you have. And because it's not just mental and it's physical, you truly remember it. And it comes out through your playing, not those licks, but the memory of it. Because he didn't want me to copy it with my fingers at all, only with my voice. You see, it was a very interesting way of doing it. And I sort of carried that over with applying it in a different way to when I work on my own records, which is I leave the solos for the end. I don't work them out, but I do spend a lot of time imagining how other people might sing over it, not necessarily solo over it, but what melodically comes to mind when I'm listening to a section of music that is going to have a guitar solo over it. And so I'm drawing upon all that memory of all the good musical experiences I've had, whether it's me singing along, driving in the car, listening to radio, or going to a concert, or playing with friends. And then when the time comes for me to solo, I just sort of naturally respond. And it always comes out different. It comes out a little rough because it's improvised, it's not worked out. But it's a new step forward. And then when I go on tour, I've got this new thing, this new version of me that I can play on, sort of. And that becomes part of my style. A good example would be the solo for Flying in a Blue Dream, which I was starting to work on that one evening, and I really wasn't happy with what was coming out. And Mike, producer and engineer, John Cunninberg, could tell that I was getting frustrated, so he said, well, let's just stop and go out and have some dinner. And we just went out and we kind of forgot about the whole project for a few hours, and came back, and he said, I think this is the moment, just go ahead and do whatever you want. And so I just went ahead and I played without thinking about it. And that solo was so different. If you compare it to anything that I'd done on all the records prior to that, and if you'd known me as a person, for 20 years prior to that, you'd say, well, you've never done that before. And that solo was kind of rough. It's not perfect, some of the notes are ahead of the beat or behind the beat, some of them are sharp or flat. But the style of it was so new just to me, because I'd kind of stepped out of remembering all the licks that I knew, and I just sort of improvised in the moment. And I knew that I was bringing forth memories of notes that I had heard other people play, but not through studying it with my fingers, but by internalizing it. So that'd be my advice for that. And it's very exciting. When it happens to you, you feel like you're moving forward, which is great.
I hope it happens to me someday.
I'm sure it will. Yeah.